Good morning, everybody. It's me, Anthony, and it's the time of the week again. It's Anthony's NFL Picks. Week 8. What? Well, I have no words to saying how fast this NFL season's already going. 7 weeks already down, and now we're up to week 8. It is going by quick this season, and by God, this is a pretty fun season, not gonna lie. It's kind of weird sometimes for the NFL season, but hey, I'm excited and doing these picks. But before we start, my record right now is I did pretty bad this week, to be honest, with my NFL picks this weekend. There was just a lot of upsets, there was a lot of ups and downs and stuff like that. So before we start, I have to do two things. One, I'm going to go over my picks right now, which my record right now is, drumroll please, ding, my record is 67-36, which is alright. It's not the greatest, but I'm trying. And also, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells to get updated on my newest content. If I get one more subscriber, I'll have 20 subscribers. But anyways, let's get started with our NFL picks. No NFL teams are on bye week this week. All 32 teams play. So we're going to get started and jump in. Okay, so kicking things off for Thursday Night Football, we got an interesting matchup between the 3-3 Buccaneers and the 4-3 Bills. Buccaneers are here after losing that close game against Atlanta at home, 16-13. Baker Mayfield is questionable right now for some reason, but they're going on to New Era Field, Buffalo, against the Bills, who are 4-3 after losing and getting upsetted by the Patriots, earning them to get their 300th win, the Patriots, 29-25. They're 4-3. The Bills are having a really tough season right now. But I'm thinking the Bills are going to get back on track and beat the Buccaneers. Bills will beat the Buccaneers 29-24. Bills will be 5-3. Buccaneers will be 3-4. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 3-3 Jets and the 2-5 Giants. Jets are here coming back from their bye week. They're all recovered. They're going to battle of the New York teams, the Jets and the Giants. The Giants are here after beating my Commanders, unfortunately, 14-7. We got to fire Ron Rivera, but the Giants, Saquon Barkley is questionable, and Daniel Jones is still out apparently, so that's a disadvantage. But my dad said earlier this morning the Giants are going to beat the Jets, but, I don't think that's going to happen because the Giants have a lot of injuries. Tyrod Taylor did pretty good, though, but to be honest, I might have to go with the Jets. The Jets looking good. They came back from their bye week. They beat the last undefeated team, the 5-0 Eagles. I think they could beat the Giants. Jets will beat the Giants 21-10. The Jets will be 4-3. Giants will be 2-6. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 5-2 Jaguars and the 4-2 Steelers. Both teams are coming back from both teams are coming back from wins. Jaguars come back in here that Thursday night game against the Saints, winning 31-24. They did very good, and the Steelers are here after upsetting the Rams at SoFi last week. The Steelers are a promising team, and I think they're going to go far, but they're going to be home this time against Jacksonville, who is looking really good with Trevor Lawrence, going on to be 5-2. Doug Pearson is really changing that team, so it makes sense for me to go with the Jaguars. I'm thinking the Jaguars will beat Pittsburgh. Jaguars will beat the Steelers 23-17. Jaguars will be 6-2. Steelers will be 4-3. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 6-1 Eagles and my 3-4 Commanders. Eagles are here after beating the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football 31-17. They are looking really good, and I'm thinking they could go to the Super Bowl again because they're looking really strong, and they're looking like no one can stop them except for the Jets because the Eagles had a lot of injuries at that game. A lot of Eagle people were down, but they're going on an easy game against the Commanders, who lost to the Giants, my Washington Commanders. Hail to the Commanders, yay. I'm not very happy. Sam Howell's bad. Ron Rivera is bad. I hope he gets fired, Ron Rivera. He does not know how to coach a football team. He did go with the Panthers that one season, but now it's just getting old. I'm going to have to go with the Eagles on this one. It's in D.C., and this is actually the same matchup earlier this month, actually. Commanders lost that game 34-31 in overtime. They played very good. But I'm thinking the Eagles are going to beat the Commanders single-handedly. Eagles will beat Washington 31-14. The Eagles will be 7-1. Commanders will be 3-5, sadly. And we move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 3-4 Rams and the 4-2 Cowboys. Rams are here after getting upsetted by the Steelers 24-17. Rams, I thought they were going to win that game, and they disappointed. They were very disappointing. How did they lose to the Steelers? But the Steelers are always good. Mike Tomlin's a very good coach. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame, that coach, Mike Tomlin. But they're going on to Dallas, AT&T Stadium, against the Cowboys, who just recovered from their bye week, and they're looking a bit stronger. This is going to be a close game, though, but I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys. I'm thinking the Cowboys will beat the Rams 24-20. Cowboys will be 5-2. Rams will be 3-5. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an NFC North matchup between the 3-4 Vikings and the 2-4 Packers. Battle of the teams who have 4 losses. Vikings are here after upsetting the 49ers yesterday, 22-17. Jordan Addison was doing good, and I even have a short of Jordan Addison, who is now public, which I published last night. Hopefully the NFL doesn't take my stuff down. But they're going on to Lambeau Field against the Packers, who lost that very close game against the Broncos, 19-17. Green Bay is having a very rough time with Jordan Love. And David Bakhtiari's out for the rest of the season. Aaron Jones and Christian Watson are questionable. So the Packers are just rebuilding this season. I don't expect the Packers to do that good this season. So it makes sense for me to choose the Vikings. Vikings will beat the Packers 17-7. Vikings will be 4-4. Packers will be 2-5. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 4-3 Falcons and the 3-3 and the 2-4 Titans. Falcons are here after upsetting Tampa Bay 16-13 with the last-second kick. The Falcons are looking promising. They have an easy schedule, however, I feel. I don't think they really are for real, but I'm thinking the Saints could win the NFC South this season, or the Buccaneers, depending on how they are. They're going on to Tennessee against the Titans, who are 3-3. They're looking really well, that Titan team. Actually, no, the 2-4 Titans, my bad. The Titans, they're looking a little bit rough after coming back from their bye week. And before they went on bye week, they lost to the Ravens in London. But I'm thinking the Titans are going to be at home. They're going to be back on track in Nissan Field, Tennessee. It makes sense for me to go with the Titans. Titans will beat the Falcons 30-23. Titans will be 3-4. Falcons will be 4-4. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an AFC East matchup between the 2-5 Patriots and the 5-2 Dolphins. Patriots are here after coming back from that big upset win over the Bills, playing very good and causing Bill Belichick to get his 300th win in his entire NFL coaching year. And now we got the Dolphins, who are here after losing in Philadelphia against the Eagles, going on to be 5-2. People saying the Dolphins are not for real, to be honest. But to be honest, for this team, I said to be honest again. But you know what I mean. I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. Even though the Patriots did very good without Christian Gonzalez, it just makes sense for me to go with Miami. Miami will beat the Patriots 26-17. Dolphins will be 6-2. Patriots will be 2-6. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 3-4 Saints and the 3-4 Colts. Both teams are 3-4, the battle of the 3-4 teams, but who will be over 500 this weekend? This is a big question. The Saints are here after losing against Jacksonville, playing very close to the game, but couldn't catch up. They were just having a really tough time. Derek Carr is not doing that well in New Orleans. They were 2-0 in the beginning of the season. Now they're 3-4. They have a tough schedule, though. But they're going on to Indianapolis against the Colts, who are 3-4 as well, and they lost that very crazy game against Cleveland by 1 point, 39-38. But to be honest, I'm thinking the Saints will be back on track, and I'm thinking that the Saints will beat the Colts. Saints will beat the Colts 22-3. Saints will be 4-4. Colts will be 3-5. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 3-3 Texans and the winless 0-6 Panthers. Texans are here after coming back from their bye week. They're looking great. C.J. Stroud is really changing that team, and I'm very excited to see how he's going to be this season, for the rest of the season going ahead. So I'm going to have to go with the Texans. The Panthers two teams are coming back from their bye week. Panthers are still winless. Bryce Young is really struggling. It just doesn't make sense for them to win this game. And besides, the Texans are getting better. Texans will beat the Panthers 27-13. Texans will be 4-3. Panthers will be 0-7. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we are at the 4 o'clock section now. We got the 4-2 Browns and the 4-2 Seahawks, battle of the 4-2 teams. Browns are here after winning that game without Deshaun Watson. He was out with a concussion in the first half. They still ended up beating Indianapolis 39-38, that crazy matchup. They're going on to Seattle against the Seahawks, who beat the Cardinals 20-10. Geno Smith is looking pretty good, and they won without DK Metcalf. That's very big. And I'm thinking that the Seahawks are going to hold on to their 2-win streak and beat Cleveland in a very close game. Seahawks beat the Browns 35-28. Seattle will be 5-2. The Browns will be 4-3. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 3-3 Bengals and the 5-2 Niners. Bengals are here from their bye week. They're coming back from it, and they're looking energized, and they look like they're ready. However, they're in Levi Stadium against the 49ers, who lost to Minnesota, mainly because Deebo Samuel was out with an injury. But to be honest, I'm thinking the Niners will be back on track. I think their 2-losing streak is going to eventually end, and they're going to beat the Bengals, sadly. I like the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. But I don't see the Bengals winning that game. The Niners, they're pretty big. They're pretty tough. So I'm going to have to go with San Francisco. 49ers will beat the Bengals 20-10. 49ers will be 6-2. Bengals will be 3-4. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an AFC West matchup between the 6-1 Chiefs and the 2-5 Broncos. Chiefs, they're here after winning against the Chargers 31-17. It was a close game. Nobody scored in the third quarter. Travis Kelce, we thought, got hurt his knee, and Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes are very cheering about it, and they had a special thing when Travis Kelce got a touchdown for the Chiefs. But that's not for this video, though. This video is about my NFL picks. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Both teams are coming back from wins. Kansas City's here after beating LA because the Chargers, I don't think the Chargers are doing good this season. They have a lot of injuries. I think Brennan Staley is going to get fired this season, so it makes sense for me to go with the Chiefs. Chiefs will beat the Broncos 21-17. Kansas City will be 7-1. Broncos will be 2-6. We move on with the next game. And also, the Broncos aren't the answer, but we'll move on. Coming up at our next game, we got the 4-2 Ravens, or the 5-2 Ravens. We got the 5-2 Ravens and the 1-6 Cardinals. Ravens are here after winning against the Lions, destroying the Lions 38-6. Mainly because David Montgomery is out with a rib injury, and they're looking pretty grim for the Lions, but we'll get to them later. They're going on to Arizona against the Cardinals, the second worst team in the NFC at 1-6. And the Cardinals always do good with Joshua Dobbs in the beginning of the games. If the Cardinals ended off with 2 quarters, the Cardinals would probably be like 6-1 or 5-2 right now, which is kind of sad though. But I don't know when Kyler Murray's coming back. It's like it's almost November. Next week's November, surprisingly, aka my birthday month. But anyway, I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens are gonna win a close game here. Ravens will beat the Cardinals 24-21. Ravens will be 6-2. Cardinals will be 1-7. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game for Sunday Night Football, we got the 2-5 Bears and the 2-4 Chargers. Both teams have 2 wins this season. It's looking pretty rough for the Bears, too. Bears are here after destroying the Raiders 30-12. They're looking really well with the new quarterback, who's a rookie, backing up for Justin Fields after suffering that thumb injury against Minnesota Week 6. They're going on to LA against the Chargers, who are 2-4 with Justin Herbert. They have a tough schedule, the Chargers. I don't blame them for being wrong. And besides, Brennan Staley's always going for it for 4th down, which is not good. I think Brennan Staley's going to probably get fired at the end of this season. But anyway, I'm going to have to go with the Chargers. Chargers will beat the Bears 28-22. Chargers will be 3-4. Bears will be 2-6. We move on with our next game. And last but not least, for Monday Night Football, we got the 2-5 Raiders. We got the 3-4 Raiders, and we got the 5-2 Lions. Raiders and the Lions are both coming back from big losses. Raiders lost to Chicago because Jimmy Garoppolo is still out with that back injury, and they're going to Ford Field against the Lions, who are 5-2, who also got destroyed by the Ravens, and they're at home, the Lions. They have a home field advantage, and I'm thinking Detroit is going to hold on and beat the Raiders. Raiders will beat the Lions 32-18. Lions will be 6-2. Raiders will be 3-5. And that is it for this week, everybody. These are all my picks for Week 8 in the NFL. Tune in next Tune in next week for Anthony's NFL Picks Week 9, which is actually a Halloween special, Tuesday, October 31st. So stay tuned and be sure to watch this weekend. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys next time.